Hello and welcome back to my YouTube. Welcome to my Mandalorian weekly review. This week's episode was Season 2, Episode 2, The Passenger. And immediately going in, I'm just going to say I'm going to keep very, very minor spoilers just for plot purposes, like just in case people haven't watched it yet. I don't want people getting mad at me about spoilers, plus I can talk about it without going into too much specifics. That's absolutely fine. I really like this episode. I knew full well, because last week's episode was the big season premiere, there was quite a few Easter eggs in there. There was some big dramatic scenes that were shot in huge, like a different format, and just everything looked massive and big, and the episode was nearly an hour long. And I knew they were going to have to scale it back a little bit on this one, which I feel like is going to annoy some people, because people are a bit stupid and they'll probably go, oh, it wasn't as good as last week. And it's like, well, no, it's a different kind of episode. This was a much smaller, more self-contained story, and I really liked it. Because I went in kind of thinking that's what they were going to do. And I think with this show, like, I don't mind when they go broader in the Star Wars universe. Like, I don't mind when they bring in some characters you might have seen before, or they mention things, or they show things, or there's droids or what have you. But then also I like it when it's just its own thing and it's just a small story. Like, I think the show works really well in that sense that they can do both. But the basic setup for this one was following on from last week's. Mando continues his quest to go and find more Mandalorians, which is a very handy plot device just for him to go to different places and kind of get in different scrapes. So he agrees to ferry a passenger to another planet, but then obviously, they get into some scrapes, things go wrong, and they kind of end up trapped on this ice planet in a spot of bother. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It's quite a simple setup, and there's quite a few nice little bits in there. You get a couple of X-wings in there, which is pretty cool, because it's set in that time when the Empire's fallen, but the New Republic are kind of taken over. And I've always liked the idea in Star Wars that the New Republic, or just the Republic, aren't they aren't perfect. Like, they're not the Empire, but they're still the ruling authority. They still have rules, and they still, they're not all heroes kind of thing. Like, in the sense that they don't just let everything go. It's kind of, there's still rules. They still have to be authoritative kind of thing. Like, the universe isn't perfect now that the Empire's fallen, or Empire's mostly fallen, I guess. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. There's some nice bits with Mando in some hand-to-hand combat, which I think we've seen more of so far this season. And there's a lot more of Baby Yoda, the child, in this episode, whatever you want to call him, which again was good, because they scaled it back last week. He wasn't the main focal point, but this one he is a little bit more, and he's a bit naughty and a bit troublesome in this episode. But I'm a big Baby Yoda guy, so that's great for me. And there was good use of puppets and stuff in this episode as well, and I feel like there was one scene with Baby Yoda, I feel like it was CG. I'm not really sure, I couldn't tell, I don't want to say for certain because I don't know, but it did look like it to me, and I thought they were just, especially for the first season, they stuck to just using the puppet for Baby Yoda, which I love. I'm a big fan of practical stuff, but it looked to me like there's one particular scene with some other creatures where it looked a bit CG, and I kind of went, if that's the only way they can do it, that's the only way they can do it. I don't hate it, but I'm more of a practical person kind of thing. But yeah, I really like this episode. There's some creatures in it that if you've watched Star Wars Rebels you may recognise, and if you haven't watched Star Wars Rebels you should do, because it's amazing. I love it. But yeah, like I say, it was a much smaller, self-contained episode, which I really liked. I think that the show doesn't have to be one of those shows where every single episode carries on the story. I think there's a little side bit here and there, where it just kind of explores the characters a bit more. But yeah, like I said about 4 times now, I liked it. So it's I don't know where they'll go with it next week. There was no big, like I said, no big Easter eggs or anything in this episode, but that's fine with me. I enjoyed it. It was a good little fun episode. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it. But yeah, so that's my Mandalorian review for this week. I'll see you back here next week. Please check out my other videos. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Thank you very much.